Nobody likes getting burned on a car deal. But for the buyers of certain 2024 models, the pain is all too real because their vehicles tanked in value in as little as a year. Resale value matters. Unless you're filthy, stinkin' rich and don't mind tossing tens of thousands of dollars into thin air. Today, we're breaking down the cars and SUVs that lost the most value from 2024 to 2025 based on fresh data from CarEdge. Buckle up, because this list goes from bad to worse. Number 13, 2024 Nissan Murano. The Nissan Murano is one of those SUVs that quietly stuck around for years, and maybe stayed a little too long. The 2024 model marked the end of its generation, and that spells disaster for resale value. In just 1 year, the 2024 Murano lost a painful 30.9% of its value, dropping from an average selling price of $48,453 down to about $33,460. That's a loss of nearly $15,000, gone before you've even hit your first service interval. So, why the massive drop? Well, for starters, the Murano was still riding on a platform from 2015. And when the fully redesigned 2025 model arrived with updated styling, tech, and performance, it instantly made the 2024 version feel outdated. So demand for the outgoing model tanked. Then there's Nissan's infamous CVT transmission. While it's improved over the years, it still carries a reputation for long-term reliability issues, especially in older designs like this one. If you find one on the used market, the price might be tempting, but don't expect it to hold value. This is one of the fastest depreciating SUVs of the year. Number 12, 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. Buyers who picked up a 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee L last year paid a premium, an average of $54,852. But just 12 months later, it's now worth around $36,876, sinking nearly $18,000 in value. That's a brutal 32.8% depreciation hit, and it's not just market forces driving the drop. So what's the story here? For starters, the Grand Cherokee L's reliability is in trouble. Consumer Reports gave it very low marks, citing ongoing electrical issues and build quality problems. In a competitive SUV market, that kind of reputation kills resale value. Then there's the 2025 model. Instead of drawing interest, it's sitting untouched on dealer lots. Why? Buyers have caught on. The value just isn't there, especially at premium pricing. That's left dealerships with bloated inventory, forcing prices on used models to crash even harder. And here's the kicker. Buyers last year thought they were getting luxury. But with poor reliability and mounting issues, the market is now correcting that mistake. Number 11, 2024 Ford Edge. The Ford Edge is quietly disappearing, and the resale market is reacting fast. Ford officially discontinued the Edge after 2024, which instantly hurt confidence in long-term value. But here's the kicker. Ford sold a ton of these final year models to fleet and rental companies, and now those vehicles are flooding the used market. When rental companies offload thousands of lightly used Edges at the same time, prices nosedive. That's exactly what's happening. This high supply of off-fleet inventory is creating massive downward pressure on used values. And because the Edge has always been a bit of a sleeper, not flashy, not buzzworthy, it's just not on most buyers' radar. That said, if you're in the market for a no-fuss mid-size SUV and don't care about having the latest tech or a luxury badge, the Edge might actually be one of the best deals on the used lot right now. In just 1 year, the 2024 Ford Edge lost 34.2% of its value, dropping from $46,385 to about $30,500 for a total hit of $15,879. Number 10, 2024 Chrysler Pacifica. The Chrysler Pacifica might look like the ultimate family van, roomy, loaded with features, and even offered as a plug-in hybrid. But buyers who paid an average of $57,331 for a 2024 model have taken a serious hit. Just 1 year later, the Pacifica is worth around $37,600, a brutal loss of nearly $20,000 or 30.3% of its value. One of the biggest factors is Chrysler's weak brand perception. Across 3, 5, and 7-year periods, Chrysler ranks near the bottom of resale value, and that stigma follows the Pacifica. Add to that a higher MSRP than rivals like the Honda Odyssey or Kia Carnival, and the math gets ugly. As one frustrated owner put it, anyone buying a new Pacifica nowadays is overpaying if they pay anywhere close to MSRP. Then there's reliability. The Pacifica Hybrid, in particular, has drawn complaints of electrical problems that can leave the van undrivable for weeks. The Pentastar V6 under the hood isn't bulletproof either. Number 9. 2024 Dodge Hornet. The Dodge Hornet was supposed to be a bold new entry for Dodge, an affordable compact crossover with sporty looks, a turbocharged engine, and even a plug-in hybrid option. But less than a year later, it's already clear that this Stellantis experiment isn't holding its value. With an average selling price of $40,764, the 2024 Hornet has lost about 36.5% in just 1 year, wiping out nearly $14,900 in value. So why is it depreciating so quickly? For starters, Dodge has spent decades building its reputation around muscle cars, not small crossovers. Buyers who wanted a compact SUV had plenty of options from Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai. Then there's the Stellantis factor. The Hornet is essentially a rebadged Alfa Romeo Tonale, a fact not lost on car enthusiasts. And that's a problem. Alfa Romeo struggles with quality and reliability perception, and the Hornet inherited that badge. Many see it as an overpriced clone rather than a distinct Dodge product. Number 8. 2024 Nissan Armada. The Nissan Armada has always been about size, space, and V8 power. But in 2024, that formula came with a painful downside. Buyers who paid an average of $76,369 for a brand new Armada are now looking at used values around $46,349, a staggering loss of $30,020 in just 1 year. That's a 39.3% depreciation hit. The biggest problem? Timing. The 2024 Armada was the last model to use Nissan's thirsty 5.6-liter V8. For 2025, Nissan launched a redesigned Armada with a 425 horsepower twin-turbo V6, more powerful, far more efficient, and loaded with modern updates. The second that model hit the market, demand for the outgoing V8 version collapsed. The full-size SUV segment is highly competitive, with models like the Chevy Tahoe and Toyota Sequoia offering better value and stronger reputations. And then there's Nissan's brand reputation. Nissan doesn't command strong resale loyalty in the big SUV space in the US. Buyers know it, and the market reflects it. For used shoppers, the steep depreciation means the Armada can be found at a relative discount compared to rivals. But for those who bought it new last year, the wallet shock is real. Before we move on to the next SUV, if you're enjoying this video so far, take a second to hit that like button. Number 7, 2024 Jeep Wrangler 4xe. If you're shopping for a used Wrangler, you may have noticed something unusual. There are tons of 2024 Wrangler 4xe models for sale, many with extremely low mileage. And there's a reason for that. Buyers are bailing out early. In 2024, the Wrangler 4xe sold for an average of $64,421. Just 1 year later, values have tumbled to about $38,683. That's a staggering loss of $25,738, or 40% of its value in only 12 months. So what went wrong? The plug-in hybrid formula hasn't lived up to the hype. With about 20 miles of electric range, it sounds good on paper, but in real-world driving, it doesn't transform the ownership experience. Once the small battery is drained, the Wrangler 4xe drives like a heavy, thirsty gas SUV. Second, reliability and complexity. Owners have reported electrical glitches, charging issues, and software bugs. The result? A flood of nearly new 4xe's hitting the market and some of the steepest depreciation of any SUV this year. Number 6. 2024 Toyota BZ4X. Toyota has a legendary reputation for building cars that hold their value. But the BZ4X is proving to be the problem child. Back in 2024, the average selling price for a BZ4X was $43,567. Today, the same SUV is worth only about $25,227. That's 41% of its value gone in just 12 months. So why is Toyota's first big EV struggling this badly? For starters, a disastrous launch. The BZ4X had one of the most embarrassing recalls in recent memory, where wheels could literally detach while driving. Even though Toyota fixed it, the damage to buyer confidence was done. Then there's the competition. Tesla continues slashing prices while Hyundai and Kia are pushing EVs with more range, faster charging, and better tech. Against rivals offering 300-plus miles of range, the BZ4X's 250 miles just doesn't cut it. And here's the kicker. Toyota's own hybrids are cannibalizing demand. Shoppers are skipping the BZ4X for proven options like the RAV4 hybrid or Prime. Vehicles that deliver efficiency and resale value without the growing pains of Toyota's first EV. Number 5. 2024 Subaru Solterra. If the Toyota BZ4X is struggling, it's no surprise its twin is too. The Subaru Solterra was co-developed with Toyota, sharing the same platform, powertrain, and most of the same weaknesses. In 2024, the Solterra sold for an average of $45,540. 1 year later, it's worth only about $26,698, losing $18,842, a 41.4% drop in value. Number 4. 2024 Nissan Leaf. The Nissan Leaf deserves credit. It was one of the first modern electric cars to hit the mainstream. But by 2024, its head start had turned into a disadvantage. With an average selling price of $35,318, the Leaf lost about $14,867 in just 1 year, dropping 42.1% in value. The Leaf was discontinued after the 2024 model year. That instantly crushed buyer confidence since no one wants to invest in a vehicle that's been retired with no clear successor. But the problems run deeper. Range anxiety is real. While today's competitors push 250 to 300 miles per charge, the Leaf maxes out at around 212 miles, and base trims fall well below that. For modern EV buyers, that's just not enough. Number 3, 2024 Nissan Ariya. The Ariya was supposed to be Nissan's big EV comeback after the aging Leaf. Sleek styling, modern tech, and up to 304 miles of range on paper gave it potential. But in practice, buyers aren't biting, and resale values are already falling hard. In 2024, the Ariya sold for an average of $52,174. Just 1 year later, it's worth around $30,058, losing $22,116 in value, or 42.4% of its original price. So what's going wrong? First, price positioning. The Ariya launched into the same price range as the Tesla Model Y and Hyundai Ioniq 5, both of which offered more buzz, better charging networks, and stronger brand appeal. Against that kind of competition, the Ariya felt overpriced. Second, charging limitations. While it supports CCS fast charging, speeds lag behind rivals. And with Nissan's poor track record of supporting its EVs long-term, buyers aren't confident the Ariya will age gracefully. And finally, inventory issues. Brand new Ariya models piling up on dealer lots, with Nissan offering heavy discounts to move them. That immediately hammered resale value since buyers realized they could get a brand new one for not much more than a used one. Number 2, 2024 Volkswagen ID4. Not long ago, Volkswagen was calling the ID4 its EV game changer, the model that would take on Tesla and win over the masses. But if you check today's used car listings, it tells a very different story. In 2024, the ID4 sold for an average of $54,413. Just 1 year later, it's worth about $26,518, a crushing loss of $27,895, or more than half its value gone in a single year. The downfall comes down to 3 big problems. First, Price cuts. Volkswagen has been offering massive discounts and dealer incentives on brand new ID4s, which instantly dragged down the resale market. Second, software. Volkswagen's infotainment has been widely criticized as clunky, buggy, and frustrating. For tech-focused EV shoppers, that's a deal breaker. Number 1, 2024 Toyota Mirai. The Toyota badge usually means bulletproof resale value. But the 2024 Mirai? It's the exact opposite. Buyers who paid an average of $64,000 for one are now seeing values around $22,640 just a year later. That's a jaw-dropping $41,379 loss, or 64.6% of its value gone in only 12 months. The single worst depreciation hit of any car this year. So what went so wrong? The short answer? Hydrogen. The Mirai runs on hydrogen fuel cells, which sounds futuristic, but in reality, it's a dead end. Outside of California, hydrogen fueling stations are basically non-existent. Even in California, the network has struggled with closures, shortages, and sky-high fuel prices. For most buyers, owning a Mirai means constant range anxiety, not freedom. Second, demand collapsed. Toyota heavily subsidized the Mirai at launch, piling on incentives and fuel credits. But that only set it up for a harder fall later. Once the discounts faded and resale values became public, confidence vanished. The result? A vehicle that was supposed to showcase Toyota's innovation has instead become the worst depreciating car of 2025. For owners, it's a financial nightmare. For everyone else, it's a lesson. Sometimes being first doesn't mean being right. And that's the full list. Every vehicle depreciates in value over time, but the kind of crashes we just went through, that's on another level. Losing 30, 40, even 60% of value in just a year is absurd. Which one shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.